Hello, this is Roland. Today I want to talk about my favorite subject again, which is awareness. And I want to begin by saying that my books, my shelves are filled with books. Most of them are about religion and spirituality, some about health, some about physics, science, but by far the vast majority of books that I have are of a religious or theological, metaphysical nature. Okay, and I like them a lot. That's the thing I'm interested in. And so today I want to talk about prayer and about finding God. I picked up an interesting book at the used bookstore. It's called When Prayers Don't Work. That's the name of it. And I got to think, and I leafed through the book. But I got to thinking that that's probably one of the most important topic that I can talk about. Because most people, when they pray, they are actually, for the most part, they're in a trance state. Now, when I say trance, I don't mean anything weird and far out, although it can be weird and far out. Like when you see people walking over hot coals, or that sort of thing. When you see people, drums are beating and they're circling around the fire and chanting, it induces a trance state. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is a trance state that most people are in at least 70 to 80% of the day, and I think more. I heard a professional hypnotist, an outstanding one, who's also a psychologist, well regarded. He gives presentations and shows for large corporations, top corporations, Wall Street corporations. And he goes to their conventions. That they have conventions in, where would they have conventions? New Orleans or Las Vegas or San Diego, nice places like that. So he gets paid handsomely for presenting presentations about hypnosis. And he also talks about goal setting and relaxation and so on. But it's a good show that he puts on. But he said most people are hypnotized 70 to 80% of the day. But he said it's probably more, and I know it's more. Most people are hypnotized all the time, at some level of trance all the time. So I'll give you a classic example. You're driving down the road, and all of a sudden you find yourself daydreaming. Then you snap out. When you're daydreaming, it's like you're not totally there. You could drive right by the freeway exit you were supposed to take, and you wouldn't even see it because you're lost in thinking about what you did, what happened, what somebody said, or what you want to do, or what you're planning to do. See? Reliving the past, or thinking about the future, or worrying. Worrying is also a hypnotic, trance state. So you see people daydreaming, people who are lost in study, who are studying, concentrating. Could be they're playing ping pong or tennis. They're concentrating. See, there's one way of just playing a game and enjoying it, but there's another way of really concentrating. When a person wants to win, then they concentrate. So you see people that are lost in texting. I saw a young man came in the other morning. I was at Starbucks doing some writing, or actually some reading at the time. And he came in. He sat down. He had a sandwich, and he had one of the drinks that they prepare at Starbucks. And he had his iPhone, and he sat there. And I don't know what he was doing, whether he was online, or whether he was checking whether he wasn't pushing buttons. So I don't think he was texting anybody else. So he was looking at something. And he sat there for at least half an hour. He didn't even move, except for his finger. His finger moved, or like that. I forget what he was doing, but his finger moved while he was holding it. But he didn't move. His head was still. His body was still. For at least half an hour. He didn't touch his drink. He didn't touch his sandwich for half an hour, staring at that. See, that's a hypnotic state. Okay? So if you're lost in worry, you're reliving the past or scheming for the future or daydreaming, you're lost in texting or some video game or online, or you're lost in study, or you're making something, or something is too important. You make something too important. That's a little bit of a hypnotic trance. Something too important. Okay? Now, it's a very subjective state. You're kind of in there, in your imagination. And visualizing what you want to happen, or what happened, or something or other. Or looking at images that people have created for you, and you're not totally there. Okay, well, here's what I want to say. When you're in that state, you can't pray. You can't reach God. Now, He's not going to, He won't abandon you, but you can't reach Him in that state. Okay, that is you've heard of original sin, the curse of sin that we're all born under. And then you see people going around and doing dumb things. See? Foolish things. Wrong things. And you wonder what they do that for. Well, it's because they were in at some level of hypnotic trance. And when they were in that trance, they were suggestible, either in the present moment, or they're acting out what was suggested in the past. See? Or they're simply in a state where they're not amenable to intuition and reason. They're separated from it. They're lost in a primary process kind of a thinking and images and imagining. And that is the fallen state of mind, the hypnotic state of mind, the psychotic state of mind. Is the fallen state of mind. So out in society you have the vast majority of people who are psychotic, hypnotized. Okay? And then you have psychopaths and sociopaths who are in charge of directing the ones who are hypnotized. Okay? And so that's the sin state that we fallen into. Culture, what you see all around you, the fallen world with all the bad things happening, people making mistakes and things going wrong, and all of that has to do with this hypnotic state of mind. So we all know that that daydreaming while you're driving is not good. We know that when you're caught up in something and make it too important, it's not good. When you make something too important, you're fixated on the goal, something you want to have. What happens when you want something too much? See, then you'll do anything for it, or you'll pay too much for it. See, then later you wonder, what did I spend all that money for? See? And in that state of mind, too, where a person is caught up with something they make too important, or they could also be caught up with something that has distracted them. What do you think entertainment is all about? You see all the entertainment on television, and on the stage, all the music. People go to concerts and they watch music and they listen to music, and they read magazines, go online to read about the stars and the performers and the musicians. What do you think all this entertainment is about? It's a huge distraction. It's a distraction. And when you are distracted, you're in a trance state. And in the trance state, as long as it's being managed by someone, you feel more secure in that trance state. When you start to wake up from it in life, when you start to wake up from it, you begin to feel uneasy and a little bit anxious. See? Because you become aware that you did foolish things while you were in the trance state, or you don't remember what you did, and that's troublesome. That's concerning. Or you don't want to remember what you did. See, what you did the morning after the night before. So we want to be distracted. The average person wants to be distracted, and so the entertainers rise up to distract them. But while you're distracted, remember I said your attention is grabbed by something? Then you fixate on that, and then you're in hypnotic state. You become very suggestible. So if somebody makes you want something to have, something to own, something to wear, something to buy, see, or a goal like to be famous, to be rich, to be smart, to make a lot of money, they hold that up, and it captures your attention. And so you can look at it either as being a distraction or a fixation, however you want to look at it. If it's something you really want, then we'll say it's a fixation. And then, with your mind thus distracted, you forget about what's important in life. If a man is chasing, have you seen, or a woman, have you seen people who have an office romance, for example? Say a married man with a wife and children at home, and a married woman. See, or one of them's married, the other one isn't. But let's say they're both married. Then they have a fling or an office romance. And for a while, that's all they think about is each other. That's all they think about. They're totally caught up in it. Totally caught up. And a man or a woman can forget what's important in life. Forget about their family, about being true to their wife, to their husband, for their children. Forget about honor and dignity and virtue and everything. All out the window. They literally forget about it. It's literally not there. Okay? When a person is gambling, they get caught up in the gambling. They start spending money. And they start charging money and borrowing money. They totally forget about, and they forget about what's important in life too. They forget about their family. See? People who want something too much, they're in a trance. And they fixate on that, and they forget about all the other important things which recede into the background. It's like it's I was going to say a sickness. They're just totally caught up with it. And then afterwards, when they come back to their senses, hopefully they will. Or how about when your child comes home and you find out that he's caught up with some good-for-nothing in the neighborhood, who does weird things, and with which your son or your daughter is now hanging around and doing whatever they're doing, smoking marijuana or whatever. And your child is totally caught up, or your teenager is totally caught up with this weird person. And that's all they see. Then they do things that are not good. And all of a sudden they look at you as if you're the enemy. They no longer look at you as mommy and daddy. See, they forget about everything that's important, and they'll do anything for this friend, steal for this friend even, see? So you got the idea. So it happens to just about everyone in their life, where they get caught up with things, or they get caught up with a cause or a cult or some leader. See? And then they go out and they do wrong things, foolish things, and they don't realize it. They forget about everything, all the good things that they learned in the past are all are no longer in the picture. The only thing in the picture is what they're fixated on. That's the trance state. That's the sin state. Now you can see why the devil takes advantage of that. See, he's the originator of it. Well, actually, the trance state, see, animals can be hypnotized also, but it has some value. They say it's the transitory state between when you're awake and when you go to sleep. There's probably some kind of a learning or automating type of a process. There's something about it that's of value. Okay, I'm sure. But when we fall into it and we fall away from reason and love and patience and what is right and virtue, and we fall into error and foolishness, see, and then you see, then that's not good, obviously. So the devil, you see, can take advantage of that, because so he wasn't the originator of it, but he knew how to use it, and he knows how to use it. Just like all con men, con women, naughty people, and motivators. See, they know how to use it. Politicians know how to use it. They know how to promise you things. See, and this hypnotic state is very much associated with our ego, with our wanting to be well thought of, and to be popular, and to be smart, and to be like God. See, we want to be right and not wrong, and be worshipped and admired. See, have things to show how successful we are. So the hypnotic state is very much there, and those people will then promise you you can be rich and popular and famous, and if you study, get this degree, or if you do this, or if you do that. See, or if you have money, or if you have nice things, or you have this new car, or you have these certain type of shoes, or see, they appeal to your ego. And so you listen to what they're saying. They paint word pictures. You begin to think about it, and you imagine it in your mind. And before long, you get caught up in the alternate reality, the imaginative visualizations that they are creating for you, and you get caught up in those. And then you go off, and then you spend all your money to get a degree, or buy clothes, or chase after something that you think will help you to be famous or rich or popular. See? So there you have it. So there you have it. So now you understand why this hypnotic state is not good to be in. You want to come out of it. You want to wake up. And what I began to say was that when you're lost in it, you're far away from God. Remember I said when somebody's gambling, or when they're having an office romance, or when they're caught up with some neighborhood good for nothing, or when they make something too important like winning the game or winning money or something, then they're focused there, and then all the good things retreat, and they totally are unaware of what is right, and what is good, and what is honorable, and what is innocent, and what is sweet, and what is noble, what is principled. Those are gone. Okay? And then they're capable of doing, some people are capable of doing almost anything in this hypnotic state. If they want something, they go for it, hook, line, and sinker. And then they'll go for it, tooth and claw, to get it. See? So that's not good. So if it's the case that the good goes out the window, and only the wrong and folly and foolishness and selfishness is there, well, then you can see why, if you come out of the trance and back to reality, then all of a sudden there's goodness, there's virtue, there's honor, there's common sense, there's intuition. See, there's noble impulses. So that's where you want to be. And in that state, you're closer to God. Okay? So that's where you want to be. In that kind of a reality. See? So, now you see why I always talk about the meditation that I have, which is a little exercise to help you to wake up. Wake up from your hypnotic involvements. Making things more important than what's right. Being selfishly caught up with pursuing something, wanting something. So, there's so much more I could say about it. But I'll just leave it at that, and make an end to this little video here. Thank you for watching, and Lord willing, we'll see you again next time.